podcast is all about happiness. What gave it away? I'm Fayon Dixon, and welcome to Happy Talk. Each week, I will be introducing you to someone that I share a happy connection with. I just believe that we all have happy stories, happy events, and we sit on them. We never share them. So this is the platform for doing it. I work as a presenter, broadcaster, events host. I work with stroke survivors. I have my own children's radio show. And I've been really lucky in the last 20 years to do work where I just ooze happiness. Yeah, I'm one of those people. My cup is eternally overflowing. Sit back, enjoy. It's time for Happy Talk. Hello and welcome to another week of Happy Talk with me, Fayon Dixon. Good news, good guests, no grief. Well, as you can see, pointing at his cheeky face is my guest this week. It is Mark Dolan. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey, Fayon, I'm so well. It's a privilege to be on your show. I like hanging out with you anyway. I've got an almost stalker-like obsession with you.
We don't do enough.
So the lockdown has been really bad for our quality time, but I love the show and thank you for having me.
But look at you. I'm on lockdown. You're swanning around outside.
Woo! I am socially distanced from the public, and also it's gathering
And
a bit of a...
That's nothing to do with lockdown.
Sorry, just being very unpopular. I'm on the banks of the River Thames, and it's a beautiful day. Actually, it's day one of Lockdown 2. This is the worst sequel since Police Academy.
Sunshine. The sun comes out as soon as we go in. Yeah.
Well, it was one of the few positives of the last lockdown was the unseasonably good weather, which kept everyone's mental health going. And as you say, it's day one of the second lockdown. And so far, certainly in the southeast, in London, in the beating heart of the capital, it's just got, it's a bit windy, but it's a lovely, lovely day. And your show is all about positivity. And I've decided that for lockdown 2, it's going to be a success. It's going to be a positive time. It's like there's nothing we can do about it. We can't change it. We can't stop it. Nope. And I think it's an opportunity for people who maybe thought that in lockdown 1 they were going to write a novel or,
This is your opportunity.
Yeah, maybe they were going to record an album, or they were going to write a play, or do painting, or just sort the kitchen cupboards out. Then this is the time.
Clear emails and all sorts of rubbish off my computer. That's what I said I was going to do lockdown 1. All I've done since then and now is put more stuff on it. My laptop's literally limping. It's absolutely limping.
Well, the problem is you're so popular. I've only got 11 emails. You got thousands.
It's so not true. It's so not true. So, Mark, I want to share some good news with you, my friend. So here on Happy Talk, we have friends at News from the Rooftop, and this is positive news worth shouting about. And they're fantastic because everything they do is about positive stories, about issues that matter, and campaigns that are making a difference. So I follow these guys. I'm hoping to be working with them very, very soon. But the news I wanted to share from them today is there is a care home in Sheffield, and this care home, like other care homes at the other when we all locked down the last time, they had to close. Families really struggled to see their loved ones. I mean, it was horrible. We know, we've reported about it on the news, and it's just horrible. And they've thought, okay, then what can we do? So with some sort of social sort of backing and some local government money, they've now got these pods that they've put outside in their garden, which are gorgeous. They've got speakers, they've got sofas, they've plants, they're really cozy, and they've got like a glass in between, and the families can go in and they can talk to each other, really talk to each other, And I just love this because I have quite a lot of older people in my life, and I've not been able to see them because, you don't want to risk their health and everything else. But isn't this a fantastic idea?
It really is such an example of the innovation that we're seeing during this pandemic. We all wish that COVID-19 didn't exist, but the creativity that's happened. I mean, obviously, we're able to do stuff like this where your fantastic show is a virtual thing and keeps everybody very sort of joyful and happy and positive. But these pods, I think that's incredible. What I'm hopeful of, Fayon, is that a lot of a lot of that sort of innovation will be a legacy of the pandemic, and things like those
Yeah,
pods will just stay there. And even when we are allowed to sort of connect again
yeah,
and hook up with older relatives, that maybe those pods will be, widely available, and it will be just a thing that sticks around. I always remember when, and it's a little bit random and it's not quite on the same scale, but when the smoking ban came in, which
oh
must
god,
have been about 15 years ago,
yeah,
that was the birth of beer gardens everywhere
yeah,
and outside spaces, because in order for the pubs not to go bankrupt, they had to let people smoke somewhere. And now you have this sort of infrastructure of outdoor spaces. In fact, I'm in
all
a
al
beer garden
fresco.
now.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
all al fresco. What would we do without the pub gardens? And it's been a real thing for us. And
Yeah.
where I live, I've got a local, which has got a lovely outdoor space. And, they've got all these wonderful seating areas, these lovely sort of private booths and log fires and stuff like that going off, and everything socially distanced. But we need that. But the only thing about these pods is they do cost £20,000. So, they're not cheap, but, Sheffield has chosen to use their local funding in a way to support the care homes. And, well, there's only one care home at the time doing this, but I really hope this is something we're going to be seeing more of.
Are they £20,000 per pod, or is that for a
A
set of
pod.
pods? It's amazing. I mean, the positive is that they will, obviously, they're future proof, right? They're not going to just get rid of them in
Yeah, they
March
look like
next year.
conservatories, they're not like little
Like
sort
a
of
little
plastic
pavilions,
pillows.
mini pavilions.
Exactly. Yeah, they look really nice. They're very stable. Yeah, yeah,
I think that is fantastic. And I speak as somebody that's got a dilapidated shed at the end of my garden. And I love using that when I escape from the family and do a bit of writing or just sit there and think about the world and drink tea. So I think it's a brilliant, brilliant idea. And
great
I'm
idea.
sure that it's eminently sponsorable. I'm sure at some point,
Easily.
hopefully big business might get on board. And, you know,
Everest,
I
like a
oh,
window
yeah.
company, something.
That's it. And also, if you think to yourself that, back in the day before the pandemic, I used to host a lot of charity auctions, and you could sort of think of sponsoring a pod,
Sponsor a
So
pod.
I think,
Hmm,
also the big thing, the big change with the pandemic is a sense that we all need each other.
absolutely right.
You
I've
know,
always
that,
said it. I've always said it. I always
yeah.
feel like, because I've always been very neighborhood. I've always been very community. I've always spoken to everybody. If I see you
And you're very nosy as well, of course.
I am very nosy. And, if I see you more than once, you're obviously a neighbour. I'm going to say hello to you. And I have had people blatantly say, do I know you? And I'm like, well, I've seen you catch the bus. I've seen you in my street. And so I'm just saying hello. And once we did our garden in lockdown, because that was something we really were desperate to do for 2 years, so 2 years since I moved into this home, and every day I'd walk past the rubble that was our property. We literally put it out into the garden when we made it all open plan. And I thought, one day we're going to sort out this garden. And within 4 weeks of that lockdown, bam, I've got Kew Gardens. And the amount of new friends and neighbours we've made from people going by and saying, oh, what a lovely garden. It's the best garden on the street. And it's my pride and joy. And I just love taking breaks and going out there and just enjoying.
That's very good. We need to get a pod into that garden of yours. That's all
Oh,
it's missing now, by the sound of it.
I feel so. But I do like the extremities. I like being outside and I like all the.
I also think, by the way, I'm a really big fan. I'm involved in a lot of charity enterprises, and I do think the public particularly like to see a tangible end product of their generous donation. And
Yeah.
whilst so much of what charities do is going to be about administering support within society, but nothing beats a glorious object like one of those pods,
Yeah.
or if it's for a health service, then seeing a ventilator or some machine that's going to save someone's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that really motivates people to see tangible things, if where possible.
It's that human element that I love. It's almost like we've all remembered how human we are since
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
pandemic. And I'm like, come on, at last, everybody in our lives, everybody around us we're all intertwined in some way. And so, you know, we're all having conversations with people that we never used to speak to before. And I just think it's great. So
It is
welcome to my
it is
world.
really great.
So, Mark, Happy Talk is all about the connections and the happiness and the chatting. I love it. And I have a couple of connections to you, things that I think that we have in common, or things that I found amusing about our relationship. And the first thing has got to be charity shops. Yeah, our love of charity shopping. And I still say one day, Mr. Dolan, you and I have got to have that TV show. We've got to have that one where we go around charity shops and just go bonkers in it, trying stuff on, looking at the great stuff that's in there. So I remember coming on Talk Radio and you saying to me, what you're wearing doesn't look, it looks like you spent a bit of money. And I'm like, oh, I love charity shops. This is charity everywhere I go. Amazing compliments. So it's your love
Wow.
of charity that I remember.
Is that your vision in pink today? Don't tell me that's a charity shop purchase. That to me looks like money's been spent.
It's gorgeous. It goes all the way down to thing. Who is it again? Oh, what label are you wearing, Fayon? Hang on. Oh, I don't know, Atmosphere or something like that. But
Well, it looks very fluffy and fuzzy and deliciously pink. The great thing about charity shop purchases is that they're always one-offs by definition, and that's what makes them so special. And you've always got a memory attached to where you were when you found a certain item. I mean, going to charity shops, it is like a job of work, though, isn't it? When I go charity shopping, this is not like a hobby. This is not leisure, Fayon. This is work, right? This is toil. I normally have coffee and I get in there, and it's like a tour of duty. It's not a million miles away from perhaps how they felt in Vietnam when they were on the front line. It's my NAM, basically, the local cancer research or whatever. But no, they are fantastic. And of course, the great thing about those places is that it's it's a win-win. It's a virtuous circle because
absolutely.
you're buying yourself some great clothes, you're giving money back to a great cause, and you are recycling.
And that's what's important to me, because I mean, I've been buying clothes for, a long time, decade upon decade upon decade. And I'm somebody that doesn't like throwing things away, but I am actually pretty good at going through clothes that I no longer want and making sure they get down to charity.
Yeah.
But it's turned out that I probably own like 90% of my clothes now are charity. And you check the
Wow.
label, and the labels are always really good, and the quality is really good. And I've got an eye for going to certain areas where people tend to buy things, wear them once, and they're done. And people will be like, "My gosh, your shoes are amazing," and I'm like, "Yeah, they're Pierre de Terre." What? No, I just paid hundreds. Yeah, 40 quid, you know. And so my mum is absolutely horrified. Faye, I didn't bring you up to wear second-hand clothes. I'm like, Mum, it's not about that. It's about
No, it's a different attitude. My mum is the same. She would want to have anything she bought from a charity shop incinerated for fear of germs. Um, whereas I'm the complete opposite, and I got the bug for recycled things because I grew up. I'm in my mid to late 40s. I'm 46, so it was the 80s, and it was the era of Levi's 501s, which were so
oh,
expensive, Fayon, that I had to buy them secondhand in Camden Market.
woohoo!
They were, even then they were still like ridiculous, like
Yeah,
30 quid, which in the 80s was
a lot of
astonishing.
money.
But I used to get those and they were lovely, sort of worn in and weathered and soft. The cotton was fantastic. And
Yeah,
that was it. I got the taste for other people's stuff. Then I was, as
started
you
you
know,
up.
I was a burglar for 20 years when I really, really loved other people's stuff. Then I went to jail, then I changed. No, but I do love it. And yeah, it is the way forward. I feel so guilty whenever I indulge in fast fashion. And by the way, me and the word fashion are not normally in the same sort of sentence. What's really odd is when you go to a charity shop and you see stuff for Primark in a charity shop, which is more expensive than it would be if you bought it new in Primark.
What? What is that all about? What is that all about? I mean, I think, having brand new, gorgeous items. 'Cause I used to be a shopaholic, and I used to spend all day. I used to like arrive at a train station like Knightsbridge and literally walk all the way down to Sloane Square on one side of the road and then all the way back the other side of the road. I haven't
Wow.
eaten, I haven't drank, but what I have got is a lot of bags. And I used to say, it's okay, found you can lick the leather for nutrition, or suck on the cotton from the new top you bought. But I used to shop like crazy, and the amount of bags, and I went through a period in the early 2000s where I checked out this box that I had, and it was full of receipts. And I mean, the money I had spent on clothes. To be fair, though, because I do look after my things, a lot of those things lasted me a long time because they were so well made.
Yeah.
So I've got a combination of, I do have some designer things, but the things that I really cherish, and there are not that many of them. And I really get a kick out of buying charity clothes. And
I think it's okay because what you've obviously got, you've got like a back catalogue of sort of prized clothes that you bought,
I do.
back in the day, and they will be with you forever. And I'm going to immediately relieve you of any guilt because some people collect antique books, other people connect, I don't know, the furniture. Everyone's got their little habit, their obsessive
Everybody's got
habit.
their own.
And if you love your clothes, I think it's great. I've got a golden rule with clothes shopping, which is twofold. Um, you can buy anything as long as you can be sure you're going to wear it, that you're
Ah,
going to use it.
absolutely.
Anything is good if you promise yourself you're good. Because what you can't do is buy something on the proviso that, yeah, well, one day when I'm in a sort of wheat field in mid-August, these will be exactly the linen trousers I'm gonna, it's like, no, 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 no. Tell me when you're, so that's my golden rule is you must be sure that you're gonna wear it. I've also got a top tip, by the way,
Oh.
which is the power of window shopping. Because what happens is when you do window shopping and even try it on the outfit, um, give yourself 24 hours, like with a casino. At a casino, they make you wait a day before you can actually go in.
That's very true.
Do the same at Zara and Next and H&M, which is you see an item, try it on, look at it, maybe even do a selfie, and then you have to leave the shop and you're
Mm,
allowed 24 hours. And what I think, Fayon, is that if it's still on your mind the next
mm,
day, go get it. And
very
so
good.
often I've done that trick. And the next day, I'm like, no, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm done.
Yeah.
And so that's like a really nice thing where you just sort of, because the impulse is a problem when you're out and about and in
Oh,
a
that was
shop.
me. That used to be me. Bye, bye,
Yeah.
bye. But you know what? I never took anything back. Ever.
Like something, yeah, yeah.
Never.
And the other thing I've done during lockdown is I have had a bit of a clear out of the clothes because I've noticed that if I have too many clothes, my turnover of outfits
Mhm.
really, really like drops off. So, the wardrobe is so stuffed with kits that I'm just wearing the same t-shirt and the
Yeah.
same jumper every day because it's like the nearest to me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think
So
the,
now
I
I had
think
a
the
big
start of
sort out.
lockdown was like that, wasn't it? We were all wearing exactly the same
Well,
clothes.
that's it. So now what I've done is I probably got rid of a third of my stuff, and now my turnover is I'm wearing a lot more sort of different stuff. Like I'm wearing skinny jeans today. Look at this.
Let me see these jeans. Woo, they is skinny. Easy. Family show.
Careful. That was the X-rated bit. That's what's going to get your viewing figures up, Fayon.
Listen, mister, I know that you've got a school run to get to very soon.
Yes, but can I just say one thing, which is I
Yes.
have mixed feelings about the child.
Oh, what are you going to do? Leave it at the gates? Not.
Well, maybe he can wait and just. No, I'm only kidding. Of course, no. We're good. Listen, I would never rush an experience like that. We're good for a few minutes. So
All right.
I
All
know
right.
I know we've got a job of work to do, haven't we?
We still got to think there's something I want to squeeze in because we've got show and tell, and I ask all my guests to bring that thing with them to show and tell me all about. But hang on, before we do that, I have to do the other thing that I'm connected to you with that brings me joy when I think about
Of
you.
course.
Now, I didn't realize this when I was watching it because I hadn't met you, but I knew you through TV. But it's the 2013 Red Nose Day,
Ooh.
Destiny's Dads. Mr. Dolan, the joy it brings me seeing that. Honestly, because I too have done a Destiny's Child dance with friends, and I've also done my bit for charity where I did an event back in 5, 6, 7 years ago, where I did Hey Cancer, Love to Dance, and I danced
Ah,
every day through the month of October, wearing pink in different assortments of clothes and high heels to raise money for breast cancer awareness. But you, sir,
well,
amazing.
now look, what I've done with the power of the internet, I've
Well,
just
this
done
is
a
what I
quick
love.
Google search, and this
You're going
is
to play the video. You are gorgeous. Look at you. Got the cheekbones.
And
Wow.
the legs. Well, you've just seen my legs in a pair of skinny jeans.
The legs. But you had booty on your bottom, on the knickers. It was just brilliant. You were
Oh
fantastic.
no, no, listen, I was quite the opposite of fantastic. It
Love
was very ill-conceived. It was myself, Sean Keaveney, the brilliant BBC Six Music breakfast show host, and the wonderful comedian Hal Cruttenden. And the three
Who
of us,
loved it.
we
Loved
have,
it.
we literally have got between us 6 left feet. But what was there was enthusiasm
Oh yeah.
and I think on the night a degree of drunkenness. Not that I would encourage that. I mean, honestly, I was Fayon, so nervous when it
Were you
came to the
really?
judges. Yeah, because well, and also by the way, my greatest respect for dancers because I had no knowledge of how complex it is.
Yeah.
The rhythm of it and the steps because it looks like they're just sort of jiggling about, but they are absolutely
No, no,
not.
no,
It's
no, no.
all
It's an
very kind
art.
of
There's an art and there's a natural thing going on. And, if it's not natural
oh,
to you, I love to dance. I dance all the time. Yeah. And, but seeing you three dads, you three gentlemen on stage, all in gold, then in pink, it just brings joy.
oh. Now the best bit about it was getting measured up for the outfits, the hot pants, and the wig. I got it was maybe 2 hours of makeup plus the wig, and I was told that the wig was from Russia.
Oh, yeah.
That there must be some lovely housewife in Russia going about bald at the moment because I took her hair. They said, no, no, it's real
It
hair.
was long. Yeah. Long
And
hair.
for some reason, some of the best wigs in the world are from Russia. And uh, I put that on 2 grand's worth. That's 2 grand, that
Yeah.
wig.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it.
I put it on and I just thought, because up to that point, I was feeling very nervous. And once the wig went on, I thought, we can do this, sister.
Wicked. What's the wig got on? Because I used to wear wigs, so I know exactly what that is
I
about.
think wigs are amazing and very underrated. I don't know why there's a taboo around wigs,
No,
frankly.
no, no, no. There's no more. Well, I'm a black
There
woman,
shouldn't
so
be.
no, no, no. We've been wearing wigs from the dawn of time. My mum used to
Yeah,
weave wigs and at home because she used to be a hairdresser, and but black people have been wearing wigs for a long time, and everybody
yeah.
else is now wearing them. But I don't really bother now so much. But I've got probably 3 wigs, but I'm rocking this look. The last time I think I actually saw you eye to eye. I think I wasn't actually bald, but I probably had just a little bit of hair. But I've been,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It was Sigourney Weaver from the first Aliens film.
you see, for some people now, depending what part of the Alien film you're watching, you're probably thinking,
Well,
what?
basically, it's when she was like your good self,
When,
stunningly beautiful.
bless your sweetheart.
She just had that. She had that amazing sort of sculpted, like you, a beautiful face, a beautiful head, and it was just actually that movie was so great. A little about the Terminator movies, where the main female protagonist is the
Mm,
powerful figure and is the sort of real action hero, and
yeah,
just amazing to think how ahead of its time it was. So yeah, Sigourney
absolutely.
Weaver. That's what you were rocking when you joined us in the studio for
Yeah.
fake news.
Some good time. Oh, God, I've missed. Listen, we can't talk about fake news now because we have to get to your show and tell. We
Oh
have
yeah.
to see it. So, Mr. Mark Dolan, what have you bought to show and tell?
Right, now here we go. Bear with me for a second. And let me say that it's my watch. Now, I realize that it's been quite a sort of, what can I say, materialistic episode of your show. And I will reiterate that the best things in life are free,
Okay.
such as a sunset, fresh air, the smile of a child. But gear is quite nice too. Now, this is my watch, okay? And the reason why it is my show and tell is because I think a watch is a lovely piece of jewelry. It's the piece of jewelry you wear every day.
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved watches because it's two things. It's an elegant decoration and it is a functional machine that provides, a role. By the way, anyone watching this that knows me will laugh because I'm the least punctual person. So this watch I might as well throw away as far as they're concerned
In
because
the Thames.
it is ignored on a daily basis. But there's a little backstory to it. My granddad was really into watches, and then my dad got the bug, and I got the bug. I mean, I have just a tiny handful, most of them very low value. It's all sentimental. But in 2017, I got a call from Channel 4, and they invited me onto a winter sports show called The Jump. And it was, well, I spent a week wondering whether I should do it, because it's been known as the most dangerous show on TV, because you have to basically do this ski jump thing. It's like 25, 30 meters. I am not heights person. I'm not brave, and I'm not sporty. So good luck with that. I think that's why they asked me, obviously. But my main qualification is I would be terrible and probably experience a major injury. And there wasn't a series that went by where someone, I'm afraid, didn't get a significant bump and a scrape. And I called Marcus Brigstock, the wonderful comedian who'd been on it the year before. And I said, should I do it? And he said, yes. And I said, have you had any injuries? And he said, oh, yeah, I got a really bad injury. And even now, my knee is still not right, but I would do it all over again. I'm like, wow. So I went off and I did it. And what I learned is that it's very healthy to come out of your comfort zone, and it is okay to sometimes be afraid and to let the fear just wash through you, like when you get rained on or blown about by the wind. Let the fear just attack you, and don't fight the fear, don't punch it, don't run away, just let it. It's like, yes, I'm afraid. And I had that when I did my first ski jump, where I have to carry the skis up this horrific set of stairs, and you're in the sky, and then you finally shuffle onto this ski jump. You're sat on a metal bar and you look down, and it's just the abyss. And it goes against every human instinct, because one thing we're all programmed to do is to not die.
That's
and your brain thinks it's like bye world when you're sat there looking down into and it's a little bit like an optical illusion, because you can't see the end of the ski jump. It's just the fresh air.
Wow.
And with the first time I stood up and released myself onto this thing, well, I felt amazing horror and terror, but then landed in one piece and felt incredible elation, and realized what an excellent thing it was to be afraid, to sign up for something I knew I would hate, but that I might grow from spiritually. So I did all of these mad different things that we had to put. We did skiing, the slalom stuff, like Ski Sunday, and we did the jumping stuff. And then another thing we had to do was called the skeleton. And the skeleton is a little bit like, I guess, the toboggan, or what's that other thing? You know, when you get in the car, what's that little...
What, you mean like...
Cool running. What do you call that?
Exactly, the cool running.
Bobsleigh.
Bobsleigh.
Right. So there's a thing called the skeleton. Now, the problem is bobsleigh, Fayon, that is like traveling business class compared to the skeleton, because the skeleton is very simple. You're on this iced track, okay? It's a kilometer, and you are going down a kilometer of polished ice at 75 miles an hour on a tea tray head first, right? So you don't sit in anything. There's no car. It's just you. So there's the ice, and there's your body.
Yeah.
And you have to have your hand behind your back, holding the tea tray. I call it a tea tray because that literally is what it looks like. And so can you imagine going head first, shoulders first, down, and it is motorway speeds. Now, I've never known anything like it in my life. Anyway, I did it about, we had to train. And then after about the third run, in which I felt like I lost half my body weight through terror. I think it's not called skeleton by accident. I was a virtual cadaver by the time we'd done some training. Anyway, my trusty watch didn't work anymore.
Oh, gosh.
It stopped. And
this same watch that you're wearing?
No. So, knackered. I took it into a shop. They go, we can't fix it. And then I saw this. And I tried it on. And I loved it.
You had that feeling of, you're coming home with me, you're mine. Yeah.
But it was quite, I'm afraid to say it was quite dear. It was what I would call several £100, I'm afraid. And I've got my responsibilities and my family, and I tried it on, took millions of pictures and couldn't bring myself to get it. And I just kissed it goodbye.
Oh.
Well, about a year later, I'd had a very busy time of it. I'm working my socks off, and I'm online. An advert online pops up for this, half price. I still don't have a proper working watch. I nicked my son's Casio after the other one went. I'm like, I'm doing it. I did something. If I'm honest, full disclosure, something nice for me, and I got it, and it's been on my wrist ever since. And it will be, unless somebody nicks it off me, it will be with me for the rest of time. And what it is, it's first of all, I love it. It's automatic. It's very reliable, but it's a reminder to take the plunge and to be brave and get out of the comfort zone, and sometimes roll the dice in life. It's a symbol of, like, be crazy sometimes and take the danger route
I mean,
occasionally.
I do crazy things, but doing what you did, the skeleton, that will stay with me. Hanging onto a tea tray and going at zip miles an hour, that is some kind of madness just to get out of your comfort zone. Bravo, Mr. Bravo. Well done, well done.
Well, thank you. And I hope it doesn't sound too sort of indulgent, but my watch story. But that's it. The only other, I also would say, we talked about shopping earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with bargains, which is why, like you, I enjoy charity shops. And I think we should call the show Fayon and Mark's Charity Shop Challenge.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. D. When
That's the brand.
are ready.
So I love that. And I do quite enjoy my value stores. Probably my favorite shop at the moment is Poundland, where quite literally everything's a pound. But a little bit of premium is nice as well sometimes. And that's, I guess, a lot of what I wear is cheap rubbish, Primark jeans and all the rest of it. But my timepiece is quite premium.
That's good.
And when I used to have rubbish watches, I'd always get a new one every year or two, because that's what happens with rubbish watches. But since I got this, it's like, that's it. I'm done with watches. And that's the nice thing about occasionally a little bit of premium in your life, is you don't change it.
That's what I've done with my husband, Lawrence. Bit of premium. Never going to change it.
Well, I've seen images of Lawrence online, and all I want to say is you're a very lucky woman. I couldn't believe that a man was able to do that with his body, especially at that angle.
We never thought that would get out.
Funny how you never see his face, but that's fine. I'm assuming he's handsome.
And on that note, it's time for you to go.
Fayon, I love you. You are awesome. And thank you to your wonderful viewers for having me.
It's been brilliant. Now, remember, go straight to the school gates and get your child. Put it away. Put it away.
TMI. Bye-bye from London.
See you later. Bye. Thank you so much to Mark Dolan. It was great talking to you. The true test as to whether I've had a great time on my happy talk is how much my face aches. And it really aches now. So thank you for the free facelift. It feels totally uplifted. So it's now time for happy happenings. Your happy happenings. So thank you so much for sending them in to me. So you can send me an email to happytalkwithfayondixon@gmail.com. Now, this week's Happy Talk. So someone that I've met through doing work with young people where I introduce them to engineers through networking events is a young guy called Alvaro, and he works with very fast equipment, cars, planes, all that sort of thing. And he said to me he will get me some positive news, and he's come back to me, and I could just tell it, but I'll tell you the start of the story, and then I'm going to play you some audio that he left on my phone. So he told me that he basically passed his test 13 years ago, but he's actually only just bought a car for the very first time. So he's always wanted a Tesla, and we're like, yeah, me and my family would love a Tesla as well. But it's just out of his reach at the moment. So he was looking for another car. What was it now? A BMW, I think he had his eye on. And oh no, it was a Mazda RX-8. That was it. Had his eye on one of those. And then he came across a Honda Civic. And this is what's so funny. Fascinated as he was by the Honda Civic between 2006 to 2011, he said that the design was so futuristic and it's a car that doesn't date. And it's like, well, look at that. We wanted Tesla as a family, and we actually also own a Honda Civic. So, and then he sent me a picture because he was about to click buy on one that he saw. And then I think it was a day or two later, he saw one which had a higher spec, but the miles per hour was so much better. So he clicked buy and he's got it. And he sent me a picture of the car, and I'm like, guess what? And I had to just share with him, you've got exactly the same car as us. But I just love his return message. So I'm going to play it through my microphone and I hope you can hear it.
I need to answer you by audio because that audio just made my day. I laughed so much because as you were just saying, like, you know what's funny? I'm like, you're going to tell me you've got the exact same car, right? And it's like, yes, the exact same one. That's hilarious. Oh, oh, I'm so happy we are now connected by our love of the exact same dream car and the exact same actual car that we've got. Oh, that's brilliant. That's so funny to know. And yeah, well, hopefully we'll get to that. Just keep the eye on the Tesla at some time. But I do the same thing every time I look at it through the, on the street or something. When I see it, it's like, oh, it's so amazing. I really, really.
Thank you so much, Alvaro. I just loved your enthusiasm. And then he and I were back and forth with messages just on our love of this car and how much we love our Honda Civics and how one day we will get that Tesla. So thank you for that. And my other happy happening, thank you so much. It's actually come from the mother of the son that this is happening to. So this is Sarah in Coventry. And she was telling me about her son, Jack, who's 22, and his girlfriend, Rachel, who's 19. Now, they've been together for about 7 years, something like that. And the way they got together was through sort of online. She's in America, by the way, in Virginia, and he's in Coventry. And they got together online and they became friends and they spoke every single day for 4 years. 4 years, my goodness. 3 years ago, they finally got to meet in person and they're just so right for each other. They're so completely happy. They're a great, great couple. And Rachel's been over here and he's been over there. But, distance and everything. And he's gone to uni, he's studied, and she would love to come here, but it's so hard, isn't it? 3 weeks ago, Rachel finally arrived in this country. The two of them have been reunited and they're living together, and they have never been happier. So, with all that goes on with the world and how hard it is to keep relationships going, this one started 7 years ago, and here we are in 2020. This young couple have finally been reunited, and who knows what happened in the future. But thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing that happy happenings. That's really made my heart glow. So that's it for this week's Happy Talk. Thank you again to my guest, Mark Dolan. It's been wonderful to be able to share my guests and news with you. So remember also, if you want to have a happy happening here on the show, then just email me at happytalkwithfayondixon@gmail.com. And I will see you next time for more Happy Talk. Thank you. Bye.